Well, joining us now on ABC 57 Tip-Off from Press Row at Littlejohn Coliseum, Sean Stiers, the voice of Notre Dame women's basketball. Great to have you back, Sean. You've been covering the Irish for 24 years, and this is your 13th season overall doing play-by-play for women's basketball. In fact, you were on the call back in 2001 when Notre Dame won its first national championship, and Niele Ivey was the point guard of that incredible team. What do you remember about Niele as a player, and were there any qualities back then that led you to believe she could be a head coach of this caliber?
Thanks for having me on first, Allison. And as far as Niele, I mean, the thing, she was a point guard, so she was a typical floor general, and so there were a lot of those kind of leadership qualities. And on top of that, that season she was a fifth-year senior because of the fact that she hurt her knee when she was a freshman in 1997, the first time the program went to the Final Four. So there was a lot of leadership, a lot of built-up trust between her and Muffet McGraw and the rest of the players on that team. And personality-wise, Niele, especially back then, she was as much of a leader as she was and as intense as she was on the floor. She was also kind of the cut-up, So she would have impersonations of a lot of different people and different players, and that she would kind of do both on the team bus and kind of behind the scenes and stuff like that. So very similar to Marcus Freeman with the football team. She was very relatable back then, and just as much so as she is right now.
Well, that's awesome. I love to hear that. Now, how would you compare this year's team to some of the great teams that the Irish have had in years past?
I lost you for part of that question, but in terms of this year's team to some of the teams of the past, there's obviously so much talent on this team. Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles, Sonia Sigline, Maddie West. I mean, just go on down the line. That's the biggest thing. And they're, as fans have already seen, they're so entertaining to go out and watch night in and night out. They've just got some of the best guards in the country in a program that's traditionally produced some of the best guards in the country.
Well, there was some concerns a little bit about how the Irish would integrate Olivia Miles back into the lineup with Hannah Hidalgo, both superstars in their own right, but the two of them seem to play so unselfishly. How would you describe the dynamic of the two of them together on the court?
Man, it's again, it's like so fun to watch it, and watching them be able to play off each other. Neither one of them is worried about, well, I've got to do this tonight. I've got to be the one to carry the team tonight. Like when you look at Olivia with some of those passes that she makes, Hannah knows that she can benefit from those passes that Liv makes, So that's the biggest thing. They both know that they can set each other up in so many different ways.
Well, as we wrap it up now, the return of Maddie Westbeld, but the Irish there at Clemson, the heavy favorite today. How do you see this one playing out there at Littlejohn?
Interesting matchup because Notre Dame leads the nation in three-point shooting. Clemson is a really good three-point shooting team themselves. They're the second best defensive team in the conference as well. North Carolina, the team Notre Dame beat last week on the road, the number one defensive team in the conference. So the biggest thing for Notre Dame, get out there on the perimeter and then rebound and get things running. That's what Niele Ivey always wants to do.
All right. Well, Sean Stiers, thank you so much. I know you've got a lot to do. You got a game to call there at Clemson, So we'll let you go. But thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thanks a lot, Alex.